This is the third part of our chapter number 1, that is Introduction to Statistics. And in this lesson, we will learn data collection and sampling techniques. This is our learning objectives. In this lesson, we will learn how to collect data, why it is necessary to collect the data, and what are the sampling techniques. So the topic is data collection and sampling techniques. Why statisticians collect data? So data can be used to describe a situations or events, right? Why we collect data? What data explains? So data can be used to describe a situation. Suppose, for example, manufacturer can make a smart marketing strategy if he knows the purchasing power of the consumers. Suppose if the manufacturer knows the purchasing power of the consumer, right? How much he or she can spend on his product, so he can make a smart or a very nice marketing strategy how to market its product on the basis of data. That is why he is interested to collect the data. Another example is with the help of data, buyers can make an intelligent decisions what stock to buy, right? Suppose if you want to buy the stock shares, right? So on the basis of past years data, on the basis of past year analysis, you can make the prediction that what type of stocks you can buy today. For these purposes, statisticians need data. See, they want to make the good decision. That is why they need the data. There are different ways to collect data. The most common way is to collect data through surveys, right? So now we will discuss the different type of surveys. There are different ways why we need data. So there are different ways we will discuss here. Three ways to collect data. First is the telephone survey, second is the mail questionnaire, and third is the personal interview. And one by one we will discuss, and these are the ways how to collect data. First is the telephone survey, and telephone survey also has some pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. So first we will discuss the advantages. Telephone surveys are less expensive, right? You do not have to send mail, you do not have to go anywhere, just pick your phone and call them. So people are more frank to express their judgment, as no face to face communication, because in telephone there is no face to face communication. So they can express their feelings, their judgment, their opinion very frankly. So these are the advantages. But now we will discuss the disadvantages as well. Not all people have chance to survey, because you cannot call to each and every person, as sometimes they do not receive the phone, and sometimes people do not receive the phone. Maybe they are at work when you call them. Some people have unlisted number, or some people even do not have the telephones, right? So these are the disadvantages. Second is the mail questionnaire, and again we will discuss some advantages and disadvantages of the mail questionnaire. Mail survey are less costly than personal survey, right? And can cover the wide area than telephone survey. You can send mail wherever you want. People may remain anonymous if they want. Suppose if you will receive the answers from the questions what you have sent to the people, and if the people do not want to mention their names, so they may remain anonymous if they want. These are the advantages. While the disadvantages are low number of replies. Suppose if you will send 100 letters or 100 letters to different people, maybe you will receive 10 or 15. So low number of replies. Incorrect responses. Why incorrect responses? Sometimes people do not understand what you are asking, they do not understand the language as well, they do not understand the question. So maybe you will receive incorrect responses, made trouble to read or understand questions, right? So this is the advantages and disadvantages of the mail questionnaire. Now is the personal survey or interview. So detailed answer from the respondents. You can get detailed answer, and it is costly, right? And the disadvantage is that it is costly, unfair choice of respondents. In personal interview, maybe it is biased, right? Why? Because maybe you will pick the people you like them. So this is also the advantages, that unfair choice of respondents. Researchers use sample to collect data which save time. See, this is the important point, that researchers use sample, and I already told you the difference between sample and population. Population is the whole group, each and everyone is included in the population, while sample is the subset of the population. So researchers use sample. It is difficult and costly to collect the data from each and every person of the population. That is why they use sample. So when they use sample, it saves time, right? Suppose if you have 1000 in the population and you are only collect data from 50 people, so definitely it will save time and money as well. But sample may be unfair or biased. Again, the same thing, maybe you will pick the people to your own choice. To get sample that are unbiased, again, right, see, this is the important point. So whenever you are going to select a sample, it should be unbiased. That gives each subject in the population, means each person or thing in the population, and a like chance of being selected. Statisticians practice four method of sampling, right? Why? They consider there are other more, means four basic methods of sampling, but there are some other methods of sampling as well. So we will discuss the four methods of sampling. First is the random sampling. Random sampling, right? In order to make unbiased unbiased decision, they collect data, they do their sampling from different methods, but there are four main methods. First is the random number generator. So what is, now I will explain to you what is random. Random sample is the subset of the population in which each member of the subset has an equal probability of being selected, right? Random sample is the subset of the population. You have to pick the sample from the population, right? An example of a random sample would be the names of 30 employees being chosen out of a hat from a company of 300 employees. Suppose you have a company, you are working in the company, and they have, this is just the example, 300 employees, and you want to pick 30 employees as a sample to collect the data, right? So what you have to do, you will put the names of 300 employees in a hat or in a box, shake the box properly, and then you have to pick 30 employees. So each and every person has an equal probability of being selected. This is the random sampling from the population. And how much is the population of your company in this example? 300. Out of 300, you are going to pick 30. You are not going to pick 30 according to your own choice. If you will pick to your own choice, it is the biased sampling. We have to do unbiased sampling. So you have to put the names of 300 employees in the box, shake them properly, and then you have to pick. So it is the random sampling. And this is the example of the random sampling as well. Suppose this is the population. We have 1, 2, 3, 12 balls here. Out of 12, we randomly pick these three. This is just the example 3. The second sampling technique is the systematic technique or systematic sampling, every kth subject. So I will explain to you what does it mean, right? Sample members from a large population are selected according to a random starting point and a fixed periodic interval. This interval, called the sampling interval, is calculated by dividing the population size by the desired sample size, right? What does it mean? Here I have set an example for you. Suppose you have these 16 students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 16 students, right? I have mention the number here as well. Systematic, and you have decided that I have to pick 4 students out of these 16 population. So how you will pick, right? Maybe you will say every fourth student I have to pick. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. You will pick this. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. You will pick this. 1, 2, 3, 4 this. 1, 2, 3, 4 and this. Right? So in the previous slide I mentioned here that the interval called the sampling interval is calculated by dividing the population size. So in our example, population is 16, but the desired sample size. Suppose if we want to select four students out of these 16. So our desired sample size is 4 out of 16. So 16 is the population divided by 4 equal to 4. Right? So you can start from anywhere. Right? From here we might take the sample every 4 elements or 1 in 4 elements from the population. Maybe you will select this 1, 5, 9 and 13. First you will select 1 and every fourth 1, 2, 3, 4 because the answer is 4. Right? 16. How you will make this interval? Total population divided by sample size. So we are looking for 4. We want to pick 4. Sample size is 4 divided by 4. So every 4. So if I will start from 1. So then 1, 2, 3, 4. I will select 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 9. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 13. If we will start from here, right? So 2 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, then 6, then 1, 2, 3, 4, this, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 14. So you will select these 4, 2, 4, 10 and 14. Right, this is the systematic sampling every kth element. Suppose if you have a 1000, if you have a population of 1000 and you want to select 50 people as a sample, so you have to divide it by 50, cross out this and then this 20. So suppose you have a 1000 people, then every 20th person you have to select. This is again the systematic sampling example. Suppose this is 1 2 3 1 2 3. I said third, every third ball I have to select. So 1 2 3 I will pick this, 1 2 3 this, 1 2 3 this, 1 2 3 this. Right? And then stratified, divide population into layers. What does it mean? Stratified random sampling is a method of sampling that involves the division of a population into smaller groups known as strata. We divide the population into smaller groups. For example, one might divide a sample of adults into subgroups by age, like 17 to 18. Right? There are suppose 50 persons. So we will divide according to age. Okay, 17 to 28 years of age will go in one group. 29 to 38 years will go in the second group. 39 from 48 will go in the third group, and then 49 to 58 will go in the fourth group. And then from these group we will select randomly. Suppose here we will select 27. From this we will select suppose 36. From this randomly we will select suppose 39, and from this we will select suppose 50. So divide the population into subgroups, and from that groups we have to pick randomly. This is the stratified sampling technique. This is the men, these are the group of men, and these are the women. Right? These are the groups. And then from these group randomly we select men, women, men, women. This is the stratified sampling example. And the last one is the cluster sampling. What is the cluster? Use intact group. Now what does it mean? With cluster sampling, the researcher divides the population into separate groups, right? By some, just like the stratified into groups, by some means such as geographic area or school zone, etc., called the clusters, then randomly choose some of these clusters as a whole. This is the important thing. In stratified sampling, We divide the population into groups, and from groups we randomly select the person or things or whatever. But in the cluster, we divide the population into groups, then we select the group as a whole, as a subjects of the sample. Right, suppose this is the cluster sampling of zone. This is 276 zone, 540 zone. These are the different zone. Right, we divide all the population into different zones, and then we select the complete zone 276. We are not selecting randomly from each zone. No, suppose if you want to select this zone, select the complete zone and do collect the data from this zone. 540, right, complete 540. Other sampling methods: convenient or mole survey. Convenience sampling, also known as the availability sampling, is a particular kind of non-probability sampling technique that depends on data collection from population members who are conveniently available to contribute in a study. Facebook polls or questions can be stated as common example for convenience sampling. You can go in the mall and you can take the interview or do survey. And then is the sampling error, sample versus population, right? A sampling error is a statistical error that arises when an analyst does not select a sample that characterizes the whole population of data, and the results found in the sample do not signify the results that would be required from the entire population. Or you can say, in other words, the difference between the results found from a sample and the results found from the population from which the sample was selected. Difference between the sample, results of the sample, and difference between the results of the population. Here I will give you the example. Suppose you select a sample of full-time students at your college and find that 60% are female. Then you go to the administration office and get the genders of all full-time students that semester and find that 62% are female. So the difference is said to be a sampling error because there is a difference between the results of sample and the results of population. Right? And non-sampling error. A non-sampling error is a statistical error triggered by human blunder to which an exact statistical analysis is exposed. These errors can include but are not limited to data entry errors or transpose errors. Suppose if you are going to write down 78, instead of 78 you just wrote 87. Biased questions in a questionnaire, unfair processing decision making, unsuitable analysis decisions, and wrong information. Right? So in this lesson you have learned data collection, why data collection is important, and sampling techniques. If still you have any question regarding this topic, you can write in the comment section and I will try my best to solve it. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, SciMy Academy, and thanks for watching.